The rapper, whose real name is Megan Pete, sued blogger and online content creator Milagro Cooper for defamation.
I just want to thank all the jurors, everybody who participated, and I'm happy it's over.
On Monday, a jury found her liable.
Fucking nasty woman.
Recommending she pay Megan $75,000 in total damages. The judge,
you know, she ain't got that.
Then adjusting that figure down to $59,000.
Even the news said, listen, it's a win on paper technically, but this is really not a W at all. That's because it's not. Megan Thee Stallion should be ashamed of herself. She should be ashamed of Rock Nation, and she should be ashamed.
This is a horrible take. Really bad news for Megan Thee Stallion. Ugh. Video by Poetic Flocka. What's going on with Megan, man? What's happening?
I don't care how other platforms is gonna paint this, but Megan Thee Stallion took a L. Regardless of what headlines you see today about this Megan Thee Stallion and Milagro lawsuit verdict, Megan Thee Stallion took a L.
How you feeling today, Megan?
And the explosive, headline-grabbing criminal trial that followed, Megan says that criticism has turned into a full-scale attack.
Just because you have freedom of speech, that does not mean you have freedom to bully.
Now, more than 2 years after Lanez was convicted, the artist is taking on a social media influencer, accusing her of waging a war of harassment and bullying.
Yeah.
It's a case many are watching, since the outcome could determine who qualifies as media and what kind of speech is protected online.
Hold on to that last statement because that's very important. They was also in court to prove whether or not Milagro and other social media bloggers like myself, whether or not we count as media and as journalists and as official media. Because if we do, then we have certain protections and certain rights and certain things that have to happen in order to properly sue us and go through certain channels. Megan Thee Stallion was arguing that people like Milagro, myself, again, her team even called academics for deposition. So they were lining it up, right? If they prove in court that Milagro don't count as media, they were about to go after everybody else. They was about to go after academics, after Aiden Ross, after everybody else. And the judge kind of ruled pretty early on that he will leave it up to the jury to decide whether or not Milagro and others like Milagro would be considered media, which is why to me it's dumb for any like media personality to root against Milagro, because her losing essentially means you lost. And how are we not media? Bruh, I was front and present at the Tory Lanez trial. Milagro, Armand Wiggins, and others, we were present. We were there every morning. We were out reporting the journalist at the Tory Lanez trial. So how are we not journalists? How are we not media? Of course.
Now, be clear, Tory Lanez did that shit. He shot Megan Thee Stallion. Without a shadow of a doubt, he did. He did shoot Megan Thee Stallion.
Media. Like I said before, I was there every day at the Tory Lanez trial. Milagro was there as well, like I said before. And every day after trial, Milagro will go home and she will report on this case. Now, her reporting was usually not in Megan Thee Stallion's favor at all. Now, after the trial, obviously Tory Lanez was found guilty. But after the trial, Milagro reporting didn't stop. Really? And she was kind of pushing for Tory Lanez to get an appeal because she honestly thought in her heart that Tory Lanez was innocent and Megan Thee Stallion.
Nah, you look at all the evidence. I actually did that with my wife the other day, who is a lawyer, mind you. We went through everything because even up until relatively recently, if you held a gun to my head and asked me, did Tory Lanez do that shit? I would have honestly said, I don't know. I don't know. But we went through and looked at everything. Personally, I believe, without a shadow of a doubt, Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion. I know she didn't help herself by lying about the glass, and then there was that Gayle King interview, and it didn't seem very compelling to a lot of people. Then she lied about being in a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez. But, you know, we're not going to get into it in this video. And there are, if you actually do care to know the truth, there are people who have broken this shit down piece by piece. But I didn't even watch their videos. My wife and I went through the shit ourselves. And I think that's why Tory Lanez was found guilty by a jury of his peers. It's because the evidence, there is so much evidence that points in the direction of Tory Lanez doing that shit. However, I still appreciate the idea that journalists should be protected if that's all they're doing, is reporting the news and giving their opinions. So long as they aren't asserting things that aren't true as actual fact, then they should be protected. But let's listen some more.
I was lying, and she continued to push. Well, eventually she pushed so far that Megan Thee Stallion said, I want to sue you because you're saying things online about me that's not true. Megan is still maintaining that she didn't lie on Tory Lanez, and anybody pushing that narrative that she lied is defaming her. Now, Milagro also crossed the line at some point because there was a deep fake horn, right? An explicit image of Megan Thee Stallion that was actually a deep fake. That was surfacing online. Milagro reposted that image to her particular Twitter, and Megan Thee Stallion had a problem with that. All right, so Megan Thee Stallion sued her for both the deep fake and what Megan Thee Stallion would describe as defamation, because Milagro was pushing the narrative that Megan Thee Stallion lied on Tory Lanez and that Megan Thee Stallion made this entire situation up.
Wow.
This case has potential to be, very significant.
That's
I think
crazy.
there are a lot of people who have amplified platforms who often get targeted by certain bloggers, and it does affect not only
I mean, that is defamation, though. I'm no lawyer, so I don't know. But, I mean, maybe if you say, I think she's lying, then that's a different story. But if you're asserting she's lying, I mean, all you got to do is take a look at her foot injuries. There ain't no way that she got these injuries by stepping on glass, bro. I do believe in the heat of the moment. I know how it looked optic-wise that she lied. But in the heat of all the George Floyd drama and the police brutality shit that was going on at that time, I can understand how a black girl from the hoods of Houston or from the hoods of Texas, in the wake of all that drama, would be incredibly nervous interacting with the police. Shots are being fired. They're all drunk to some degree. Yeah, I can see why she might have thought in that moment that she needed to lie about that shit. Did you know that Kelsey, immediately after the incident happened, before the police showed up, immediately after the shots were fired, she texted somebody, I think it was a bodyguard, she texted them, Tory shot Megan. Did you know that? Do you know that when Kelsey was brought in to be interviewed by the police, she told the police that Tory Lanez shot her? Told her to dance, bitch, and all of that. It's all actually like, there are a lot of moving parts. I might make my own video going through everything. It's just that there are already people on YouTube who've done this. There are already people on YouTube who've explained all of this. So if you really care to know, you can just go look up those videos. But all I'm saying is I can see how a jury would come to the conclusion without a shadow of a doubt, with no room for reasonable doubt, that Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion, and that's why he's in prison.
mental health, but also their bottom lines.
In the lawsuit, Megan says Milagro Cooper, known online as Milagro Grams, spent years spreading false information and promoting a deep-fake pornographic video of the rapper.
Wow.
And she says Cooper was getting paid to do it on Lane's behalf.
Megan Thee Stallion's attorneys are claiming that Milagro Cooper basically coordinated with both Tory Lanez and his father of getting information that was completely incorrect and completely defamatory to try to, I guess, influence the court of public opinion. And they're saying that this negatively affected Megan and that it caused her to have extreme emotional distress and other harms.
Imagine, man.
Megan is now suing Cooper in federal court for defamation, accusing Cooper of cyberstalking, intentionally inflicting emotional distress, promotion of that deepfake video, and invasion of privacy. The rap star testified that Cooper attacked Megan's character, casting her as a liar and as mentally unstable.
Another aspect of this as well, because I don't think Megan Thee Stallion would have sued, or she would have at least had an uphill battle to even get this at trial, if she would have sued Milagro just based off of Milagro sharing opinions about the trial that's very public. But Megan Thee Stallion would paint the narrative that she believes that Tory Lanez and his father was paying Milagro money to defame Megan Thee Stallion. Like, she claims that Tory Lanez...
I believe that. Also, when Kelsey was brought in to be interviewed, she admitted that Tory offered both her and Megan Thee Stallion $1 million each to not say anything. So can I believe that Tory Lanez was willing to put money in the hands of YouTubers and bloggers and vloggers to spread misinformation about Megan Thee Stallion and the reality of the situation, yeah, I can 100% believe that. Now, is that what happened? I don't know, but I can 100% believe that for sure.
Paying Milagro, even though when she showed the receipts of the quote unquote payments, I think she showed like $1,000 or $2,000 like Zelle payment at some point, which I think it was for like travels or like a dinner they had. So like there was really no track record of payments from Tory Lanez to Milagro. But her comment is saying, yo, she believes that Tory Lanez was paying Milagro to spread false information that Milagro knew was false. That's where defamation came in. And she provided enough to where this actually got to trial. 9 times out of 10, this is going to get dismissed with an anti-slap. But Milagro really messed up with that deepfake. That deepfake, to me, is what really got Milagro in a world of trouble and what ultimately brought this to trial.
Megan also feels that part of this feels like revenge, too, in a lot of ways, that this blogger purposely targeted her for speaking out and telling what exactly happened between her and Tory Lanez. She's talked about, being depressed and not even wanting to be alive anymore.
Cooper maintains her posts are covered by the First Amendment. And while she admitted under oath that Lanez's father did pay her money, she says it was for unrelated personal reasons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. For no reason. For no reason, Tory Lanez's father is paying this blogger who is spreading misinformation and pushing a deep fake video with Megan Thee Stallion engaged in some kind of pornographic act. Yeah. He just what was it, charity? Why'd he give her money?
Be very clear, this person is not a journalist. Journalists really are telling stories in its totality. We actually abide by a code of ethics and standards.
This trial was divided among party lines. New media and old media. Okay, Megan and Milagro. Because you had the legacy journalists, the people who work for Fox News and CBS, those people, for the most part, was rooting against Milagro, and they were especially rooting against the court decided or labeling Milagro.
Why wouldn't you root against her? How would you feel if somebody was pushing videos, fake videos of your wife or your girlfriend getting fucked on camera? We hear Flacco talk so much about this person who's spread some misinformation about him. Basically, Flacco has a relative that is on the sex offenders list, and somebody took that information, redacted his relative's first name, and then tried to push this narrative that it was Flacco on the sex offenders list. And he has said in multiple videos how he could never forgive somebody for that. How is this any different? How is this any different? Come on, man. Do better.
Milagro as a media personality or as a journalist. Because once you do that, you kind of validate new media. See, ultimately, Megan Thee Stallion got a verdict in her favor, right? Milagro was found culpable, right, for reposting that deepfake. But when it comes to defamation, that's where it got tricky. Because Milagro was labeled and deemed a media figure. So when it came to deciding whether or not Milagro defamed Megan Thee Stallion, that's where we see Megan Thee Stallion got spanked and ultimately lost.
Legal win for Megan Thee Stallion, a jury finding a blogger liable for defaming the rapper.
And tonight, both sides are reacting to the verdict. In Local 10's Leanne Morajon is live outside the federal courthouse in Miami with it all for us. Leanne.
On paper, yes, this is a legal win for rapper Megan Thee Stallion, but it wasn't the multi-million-dollar verdict that she and her team were seeking. A jury ultimately recommending that she be awarded $75,000 in damages, but a judge then adjusted that number down even more.
Really?
We going out to eat. Megan Thee Stallion walked out of the federal courthouse in Miami, not talking about a jury's judgment in her favor before entering a waiting SUV.
Bye, everybody.
The rapper, whose real name is Megan Pete, sued blogger and online content creator Milagro Cooper for defamation.
I just want to thank all the jurors, everybody who participated, and I'm happy it's over.
On Monday, a jury found her liable.
Fucking nasty woman. Why would you spread a video like that? You're a black woman. This is sick.
recommending she pay Meghan $75,000 in total damages. The judge,
you know, she ain't got that.
Then adjusting that figure down to $59,000.
Even the news said, listen, it's a win on paper technically, but this is really not a W at all. That's because it's not. Megan Thee Stallion should be ashamed of herself. She should be ashamed of Rock Nation, and she should be ashamed.
This is a horrible take. This is a horrible take, man. This is a horrible take.
Right, of costing this entire situation over $59,000. This is a disgrace. Megan Thee Stallion asked them folks to reward her, from what we heard, $10 million. The folks came back with a $75,000 judgment, and the judge
that woman don't got $10 million anyway.
Actually knocked it off to $59,000, and you know why? Because they rewarded $15,000 for defamation. However, they ruled that Milagro was a media figure. She was a journalist. Well, there are steps for you to sue a media personality or journalist. You have to send a cease and desist. The proper protocol didn't take place and it never happened. So because of that, Milagro can't be found liable of defamation. And she wasn't found liable of defamation. The judge knocked it off. So that $15,000 she would have owed Megan Thee Stallion for defamation, that got knocked off because they never served her with a cease and desist. So now we're dealing with the deep fake and emotional distress. And those.
So it doesn't sound like she lost. It sounds like Megan's legal team dropped the ball, not serving the cease and desist. But if a black woman is willing to spread that kind of fake content, that fake pornographic content about another black woman, she's evil. This is a soulless harpy. And so she probably would have continued to push this narrative and Megan would have won entirely. So this actually doesn't reflect what you can and can't get away with as a media personality. It just goes to show that if you ever become a celebrity and someone is spreading misinformation about you, make sure you go through all of the proper steps that you need to take so that if you have to bring someone to court, you can fucking bury them.
Other things. That's what amounted to the $59,000 we see. But ultimately, that's a L for Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion went to court to prove defamation. She didn't prove defamation. She didn't prove it at all. So she can't even say, see, I cleared my name. Y'all been lying on me. She never proved defamation, right? It was knocked off. Now, Milagro and her team, they kind of spoke on it when they were walking out of court. And she like kind of feel relieved because the worst possibility here, bro, was she would have owed $10 million if it was up to Megan Thee Stallion. But her having to only owe $59,000 as of now, because we don't even know about the lawyer fee, but as of now, it's $59,000, so it's a W as of now. It's a W for Milagro. It's an L for Megan Thee Stallion. She should be embarrassed and disgraced.
For what? Why? She wasn't wrong. The judge says she was right. She got away, this fucking Milagro chick. She got away based off of technicality. She got away because she got lucky. It's not a W. She got lucky. That's all that happened right here. Megan Thee Stallion, she won. It's just that, Megan Thee Stallion, she's clearly on some kind of bad frequency, man. So just unfortunate things keep happening to her like this. But the judge didn't throw this shit out. He didn't dismiss it. He didn't say there was no wrongdoing here. He was just saying because certain steps weren't taken, this woman, Milagro, what a fucking dumb name, by the way, she cannot be held to the fullest extent of the law. She cannot be penalized as badly as she could have been had Meg Thee Stallion's legal team done things properly from the start. That's all that happened here. So Flacco's trying to rewrite the narrative, but no. This Milagro woman, I don't know if she believes in God, but if she does, she better fall on her hands and knees and thank him for being merciful upon her.
People on social media right now is letting Megan Thee Stallion have it.
Milagro, anything you'd like to say?
Thank you guys for coming out every day. It's over. Shout out to new media. And that's it. Hey.
Are you glad with the verdict? What do you think of the verdict?
I just want to thank all the jurors, everybody who participated, and I'm happy it's over.
So what's next for you?
The sky's the limit, honestly.
How are you going to handle the financial aspect of all this? Because you testified you don't have any money right now.
Of course. Of course you don't. Of course you don't. She blew all the money she made spreading lies about Meg Thee Stallion. Typical.
We'll see. We'll see.
She's crushed. 60 grand. It's a lot of fucking money to come up with when you're broke.
Is better than 70 million, though, right?
Ain't it?
But tell me about that.
Right.
She won the tens of millions. What did she get?
What did they say in there?
59,000.
What about attorney?
Yeah. How are you going to say that she won when she has to pay 60 grand on top of her legal fees? So she spent upwards of this has cost her over $100,000. I don't know in what world somebody sues you and you have to fork up over $100,000 in legal fees and, you know, in penalties, and you're somehow the victor in the situation. No, you just got a break. You got a lucky break. That's all that is.
What did you say?
Where you said that you had not paid to your attorneys, and how do you feel about the job that they did?
The job my attorneys did?
Yes.
Dream team. They were phenomenal.
Are you happy then with the outcome?
I'm not ecstatic. Of course, you want things to go your way, but like I said,
oh, so they didn't go her way.
I respect the jury and what they decided, and I think I made out pretty good.
Any lessons learned next time you get on air?
Yeah. So tune into the next show so y'all can see how I handle things moving forward, y'all. Okay.
This verdict.
Yeah, she gonna shut the fuck up. That's what she's gonna do, handling things moving forward. And she's not gonna be talking about Megan Thee Stallion much more. I promise you that.
Is honestly a win, not just for the media personnel. It's a win for you too. If your favorite.
I had no plans of spreading deep fakes of a celebrity engaged in a sexual act, so this really doesn't benefit me, or should it feel like it benefits you in any way. This is not a woman who just got sued for giving her opinion like we do over here. This isn't even a woman getting sued for pushing things just because she got some information wrong. She got sued for defamation, which she did do. She was engaging in defamation.
Now, Milagro did an interview with my guy, Armand Wiggins, which I'll be real, I'm proud of Armand, man. But she did an interview with Armand, and she would really emphasize, why this is a huge W for independent media and for you guys as well. And she would also break down exactly what the verdict is and why any headlines that she got convicted of defamation is absolutely false.
But
also, because I don't know, because I'm hearing 59K, 75K. Can you clear this up? Like, did they drop the defamation? Is it 59K? Like,
okay,
is it
so
75K?
the jury decided that I am a media defendant.
Amen.
Which means that ultimately they had said we would give $15,000 for the defamation.
Oh, so she did get hit with the defamation.
Okay, the overall sum was about 75. Well, because I'm considered a media defendant, that knocks off the defamation. So any headline you see that says that Megan won her defamation suit, that is incorrect. That is not correct, because the media defendant status means I should have been served properly. They wanted to mark me as a social media grifter. I'm not that. The jury, which it was left to them, it was decided by her side that they would choose if I was that. And they said, yes, she is. So with that being said, the defamation portion was lost.
Oh, officially. So that's officially lost.
But it wasn't because you didn't defame her. It was because the proper legal steps weren't taken. That's what people need to understand. It's like when a man sexually assaults a woman and then she drops the case because a settlement is made. And so he's not found guilty of sexual assault, but it doesn't mean that he didn't sexually assault her. It's just that other things took place that kind of made it go away. And that thing that took place was the woman getting paid a lot of money, right? Here, it's a little different. The difference is because of a technicality, she could not be held to the fullest extent of the law. But had Megan Thee Stallion's team, from what it sounds like, gone through the proper legal steps and procedures, if this woman continued to push the things that she was pushing, having received that cease and desist, she would have been found guilty and would have had to pay up that $10 million or however much the judge ultimately would have landed at. But yes, if you do what this woman did, don't think that you can get away with it. Don't think that she did things properly as a journalist. She is nothing more than a social media grifter that was pushing lies about a woman who was actually shot by a fucking piece of shit guy.
Per the jury, as of right now,
Okay.
the judge, they're going to do what they want to do and file something and contest it. So the judge could come back and assert something. But how likely would it be that she would go against her previous ruling where she said, let the jury decide, and they decided and say no? So
Yes, I
at
was
this
there.
point, okay, right. So at this point, it is 59,000 because that is minus the 15 for defamation. Defamation was lost.
Now, are they saying that you're going to have to pay these legal fees? I'm seeing a lot of different things people are adding on to it. Are you going to have to pay lawyer fees? Like, is that a thing?
I'll have to see how that works moving forward.
Yeah, she's gonna have to pay her lawyers.
But for right now, the number is the 59.
There you have it, bruh. A huge waste of time. All right. Megan Thee Stallion spent almost $2 to $5 million on this lawsuit. She got 1,000 people deposition subpoenaed, had her good name smeared, right? Yo, Megan Thee Stallion made more enemies during this lawsuit process than I think that like she'll be comfortable with, right? Like bringing in academics, bringing in Aiden Ross.
Yeah,
like,
because those people are all big Megan Thee Stallion defenders and fans before, right? They weren't also partaking in the slandering of this woman, right?
ruining people's lives, interrupting their lives to bring them to sit down for a subpoena, essentially using this Milagro lawsuit that you know wasn't really going to go anywhere. You use this particular lawsuit to kind of target other media personalities like academics, Aiden Ross, and others. It's just not cool, bruh. You feel me? Like, it's not cool at all, man. But
yeah, no words for the Milagro chick who's pushing this bullshit narrative. You know what? Now I feel like I gotta make that video, walking you through all the evidence and showing you why it is that I believe that without a shadow of a doubt, Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion. And with that being the root of all of this, it makes anything that anybody does in an attempt to try and attack Megan Thee Stallion based off of this incident, it makes them wrong automatically and by default, because you're attacking a victim. You're attacking someone who was a victim of a heinous crime and could have lost her life. That's the reality of the situation. But then when you add the whole deep fake porn video on top of that, it makes it even more nasty. And so I gotta say, man, I truly am very, very disappointed that this is the position that Flacco has, you know what I'm saying, on this situation. But stay posted for that video. I don't know when I'm gonna drop it. I'm not gonna promise you that it's gonna drop tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, but I'll put it on my to-do list. But hey, you let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, peace out.